Hey guys, welcome back to the Heroes Hype Challenger series. I am Gillyweed, and we just saw a fantastic 2 games between Zeveron and the Kappa Wolves, but now Zeveron have to face the PLEYZ in our finals, Anna.
And there is something on the line, Gilly, not just pride and honor and glory, but also money and seeding points on the road to BlizzCon. So these teams are taking it very seriously. Both these teams have had their eyes on that World Championship, ultimately ending up at BlizzCon, and this is the first step toward it.
Yeah, it definitely is. We can talk a little bit more about that as we hop over to the picks, but if you guys haven't heard of the road to BlizzCon, it is how teams can get into that the first ever Heroes of the Storm World Championship that will be at BlizzCon this year. You have to make it through the Open into the round of 8, and then through there into the Americas Championship, and then even through that to BlizzCon. So it's a long battle, but taking part in some of these tournaments, these community tournaments, you can earn seeding points that put you a little bit higher in the bracket through the Open and help you get a little bit of a head there, maybe even pick up a bye in your first round. So that's what these teams are aiming to do. Also, a little bit of prize money is nothing to sneeze at either.
I do not sneeze at prize money. I put it in my pocket and then spend it on delicious heroes and skins.
Yes, as do we all. And we'll have to see what heroes these guys decide to show us. But Zeveron, no surprise already. They've banned out Johanna and are showing Jaina, Uther, and Kerrigan. But the PLEYZ, realizing at least a little bit of what Zeveron liked to grab, have gotten that Muradin and the Tyrande. I wonder if they will be so bold as to ban out the Arthas here.
I don't know. I mean, we saw that Kerrigan can be really useful alongside other tanks, to be sure, but Johanna's out of the mix. So what other tanks do you think Zeveron would be looking to grab, if not our friend Arthas?
Well, we saw them use Tyrael to great success on this very same battleground. So I think that would probably be the way that they would go if they can't grab him here. It looks like the PLEYZ are happy to ban out the Protoss Brethren. And if you kind of look closely, it looks like Zeratol's putting his arm around Tassadar.
Oh, it's
for
like
a
they're
friend.
in a photo. They're like at Disneyland and they just went on Splash Mountain together.
Yeah, they are. I feel like they would maybe not take a picture out of Space Mountain. Like, this is not at all how things really look. We're not going to take a picture because we didn't see our home planet. There was no ire.
Well, I do like that they banned out Tassadar, because that means that they have Tyrande, they banned Tassadar. Those are 2 really great vision-giving heroes. And also those half supports that we often see one team take one and one take the other. So that could force another vision-giving hero, like maybe Zagara, which wouldn't be a bad thing for Zeveron. But I think it shows some smart plays from the PLEYZ.
It does indeed. I've really liked these teams kind of focusing on these 2 sort of half supports, Tyrande and Tassadar, a lot in these drafts, as they really can turn the tide. They have to bring so much utility to a composition. So we are going to have a ban on Kael'thas from Zeveron, another good choice. They've already picked up their high damage dealer in terms of Jaina. They've got Kerrigan as well, but the one who sort of sits from the back and just throws out as much as they can. So they're going to limit what Zeveron can pick up with that Tyrande to start dealing damage. We might see the Vala. We might see even a Falstad, which would be pretty cool. But for now, they're going to grab Rhaegar, and it looks like it will be Vala. So Vanilla Vala has made her way to the stage.
Vanilla. Yeah. I think that's a good pick, but it was also a very smart ban, like you said, from Zeveron to take Kael'thas out of the mix, because a lot of times we see Jaina versus Kael'thas kind of situations, and they are really, they don't want to deal with that big, huge burst of power at 16. Of course, every hero becomes incrementally better at 16, but this is going to allow them to not worry about that as a big power spike if they do deal with an experienced lead. Yeah,
and it also makes it really difficult to try to siege into a a structure, like a keep, when he's throwing out those flame strikes and
Yes.
dealing half of your health with every blow. But you're right, Zeveron did pick up Zagara, so they're going to be focusing on the creep. I bet this is going to be Arthas here for the last one, and they'll have a lot in terms of vision, in terms of damage, and then when setting up their fights, nope, it's going to be Stitches.
Okay, well, I mean, certainly with Stitch's hook, there's double pulls again, which we've seen Zeveron use to great effect, so that's cool. I was a Stitch's fan a long while back when he was hot, and I'm excited to see his face a lot more in the last, week.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. I really like his ability to zone with his putrid bile. And of course, the hooks are really cool. Anytime we get to see a really epic hook, we're always like, oh, the hook! That's a really fun thing for us to get to cast as well. But the PLEYZ have one more choice here, and they will need a full-on, oh no, they've got their full support, so it probably will be someone in terms of damage. And looking at it, maybe we'll see a Nazeebo. We haven't really seen too many of those yet, but they've slowly been coming back into play. Also, Falstad and Tychus may be a possibility. What do you think here?
Sylvanas is still not being picked either.
Yeah.
And we have not seen much of her. Yeah, people are not down with Sylvie right now.
She's just not bae anymore, I guess.
Oh, don't tell the Febwar. She'll be really sad.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know if she was listening to this. I'm sorry, my friend. It will be a Nazeebo. I'm so pumped. Nazeebo and Stitches in the same game.
It's like throwback. It's TBW. Hashtag.
Throwback Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we are going to see Nazeebo. Nazeebo can do some cool things with those zombies, kind of lock somebody down. Not really a stun, but more of a trap, which is kind of unique. We don't see that in a whole lot of heroes. And he has some similar features to Zagara, where he has little people, little minions, little helpers that he'll throw into the battle. So he can stay out of the way quite a bit and still do a lot of damage in a team fight.
And those little minions that you mentioned are actually really nice when it comes to stopping channels, because the spiders will never leave you the heck alone. They just keep coming. So that's going to be really nice, is that they can kind of throw out those spiders from a pretty safe distance and then be able to stop channels a bit. It's all going to be about the channeling. We saw it the last time we were on Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's all about getting to turn those gems in, being able to control the lanes, and we'll see which team can do it better. But we are going to load in. What if, in case we've got some newcomers here, do you want to talk about how this objective will work?
Sure. So this map is the smallest in our battleground pool, and there are going to be 2 turn-in points, one in the top, one in the bottom, but basically just in the middle because this map is so small. Those are places where you want to turn in gems. You can collect gems by taking down the little spider minions that are going to spawn alongside the normal minions. You can collect those gems. Only you can collect your colored gems. The other team cannot steal them. They can't pick them up if you die and drop them. So it's going to be your duty to pick them up and to keep holding on to them until you can turn them in. If you manage to turn in 50, that's the price of the first wave of web weavers. They're going to spawn in all 3 lanes, and they're going to help push for you. And they're going to spawn to where the lanes are pushed. So you're going to see teams really prioritizing how far and where and when their lanes are pushed out, so that they can not only control that space for the turn-ins, but so they can also have web weavers spawn far forward and do lots of damage, because they move kind of slow down those lanes. So teams are going to use those to either split push or to take down structures or to distract. It's a great way to take advantage of this battleground. And last time we did see Zeveron do a great job of having control of those turn-ins for most of the game. So it'll be interesting to see whether the PLEYZ come out swinging trying to do that for themselves.
Yeah, things that are really prioritized on this battleground are vision, of course, to be able to see who is turning in where on those spots. And we do have vision for both sides. We've got Tyrande who can send out the Sentinels, and we also have Zagara who can throw down some creep tumors and spread that out, be able to see who is moving where. I mentioned who is moving where because rotations are another thing that teams really prioritize here. Moving around, maybe trying to get a surprise jump on somebody and be able to get a takedown in the early game to get ahead in experience. But also just rotations, making sure the lanes are pushed out, like you said, so once they spawn the web weavers, they will be able to get the most out of them. But let's go ahead and introduce the teams. We do have Zeveron once again in blue, with Koth and Luck playing Zagara, Mad Timmy on Uther, Faye will be playing Jaina, Equinox will be on Kerrigan, and Fury's playing that Stitches.
And in red, we have the plays. It's going to be Lex Uther on Rhaegar, Evan Drinde on Nazebo, Zeus playing Vala, Daihu on Muradin, and Pirate Rum playing Tyrande.
Once again, we're seeing a lot of forward aggression here from Zeveron, who are going to try to get a hook through the wall and maybe try to make something happen there, but that's not going to be the case. And they will start to rotate. That would have been cute, though. It would have been really cute. They're going to start to rotate out here, make sure they start getting some soak in here. But we're going to see Zeveron being very aggressive based on the composition that they have, trying to be able to pick up some early takedowns and get ahead in experience.
You will see that on this map, we're not going to have someone who's assigned to a lane that can't move between it, and we're not going to see teams be so afraid to leave a lane because they can come and go from it so quickly that they can actually soak experience into lanes just by running back and forth in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and we will have a lot of movement there through those middle turn-in points, just like we're seeing. Each team would love to be able to get some of those early takedowns, get ahead in experience, and maybe open up the possibility, a window where they can start getting a turn-in, as getting those first web weavers is oh so nice and taking down some of those towers. And now a Primal Grasp is going to come in, but Lex Uther is going to be able to run away in that Ghost Wolf form, so then no takedowns yet.
Yeah, that Primal Grasp into Impaling Blades combo is Kerrigan's kind of bread and butter, and Lex Uther with his increased mobility and able to mount up instantly managed to squeeze out that time, but we are seeing a little bit of a gank squad situation going on. We have Jaina and Kerrigan roaming together, which is always very scary.
Yeah, we could see the plays trying to mimic something like that later on, especially because they do have both Muradin and Tyrande. It's kind of the stun squad between the Lunar Flare and that Storm Bolt that they could throw out. So they might be rotating around as well, and yes, they are choosing to rotate together. So both teams running that, trying to get the jump on each other. It looks like Fury might be the one they try to get a good Lunar Flare into that zombie wall is going to ensure that the first blood actually goes the way of the plays.
I thought for sure we were going to lose Lex Uther on Rhaegar down there in the bottom lane. He got so low, but managed to get out of the way. And yeah, it looks like we do have pretty even experience gain, but just a tiny, no, maybe not even anymore. I was going to say a tiny lead for the plays, but it looks like instead Zeveron's eking just a smidge ahead.
Yeah, those early ones are really tough to tell. It's only when you start getting a whole bunch of them that it starts to become a problem. And it looks like a great hook on Drinde there, but he's going to actually drop the zombie wall, and it means that Stitch will be taking a bunch of damage, but Equinox is going in, trying to grab Drinde, who will be able to move away. These teams are doing a really great job so far of kind of avoiding that bread and butter, that Primal Grasp into the Impaling Blades that Kerrigan has been throwing out.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Equinox, characteristically a great Kerrigan player, so it's interesting to see those combos being missed. That definitely indicates some skill on behalf of the plays. We'll have to see whether that throws Equinox off psychologically a little bit, as now we do get a pull from Stitches. We are going to see, though, the Dwarf Toss will protect Daihu. He's going to want to disengage and not try to fight there.
An interesting pickup here from Lex Uther at level 4. He got Stealth Wolf. So when you first enter the Ghost Wolf phase, you are stealthy for a little bit of time. And that's going to be really interesting if he's maybe going to be using that to try to move in just like we saw and stop some of those turn-ins, or maybe to try to move through and get some sneaky turn-ins of their own. That could be very nice for them later on if he ends up having a lot of those gems and they can't seem to get the right turn-ins like we so often see. And already Zeveron are starting to kind of control the turn-in points. They've almost got a full one, only 4 more to go.
Yeah, and we do see 26 gems being carried by the plays right now. Evan Drinde in danger of losing some of those as does get very, very low, but that little Witch Doctor is going to manage to scurry away. Again, similar things. We keep seeing an engage from Zeveron, the plays deciding not to engage. And what that means is that Zeveron has had plenty of room to go ahead and turn in those gems. They are going to have their Web Weavers descending now, and this is how we saw them take control last game. Getting an early Web Weaver, spreading out across the map, making sure to take down that front line of defense on the structures.
Yeah, the rotations from Zeveron have been so good that they've actually already taken down a tower in front before the Web Weaver's already gotten here. So this is a huge push in front, as now the next tower is already very low as well. On the bottom though, Rhaegar is pushed pretty far forward, is going to be able to take down that Web Weaver pretty quickly. On top though, it's going to be a similar problem as there's a good push with Zagara and those Web Weavers, and now Nazeebo is down. Zeveron have picked up their level 7 talents, and they're starting to put real work on a fort, which is always something that you hope for with the first Web Weaver spawn, but not always something that you get, as with it so early, usually you just end up getting a few towers.
It's interesting to see the PLEYZ struggling so much to defend here. They're not behind in a talent tier, although they are a little bit behind in experience, and they don't have anyone down, but they really are kind of struggling to figure out where to put their resources. We saw Zeus go back to heal. It looks like they are going to be looking for an engagement here. Daihu out in front is a little bit low. A Primal Grasp into Impaling Blades is going to grab nobody, so Equinox may be showing some nerves or something with this combo. The Dwarf Toss is going to just narrowly protect Daihu as this fort does go down.
Wow, 2 forts with the first Web Weaver spawn. What a fantastic turnaround, or at least a fantastic game so far for Zeveron, as now they are a level and a half ahead, and they're moving toward the bottom. They've got a huge rotation down here. These towers are out of ammo, so nothing is here to help Lex Uther. They're going to start to rotate down here, but in the meantime, these towers are going to go down. Faye is a pushing master on that, Jaina, and Luck on Zagara as well. They've got so much push potential. Who needs a Sylvanas when you cut those two?
I guess not. It is strange to see Sylvanas so completely ignored in this tournament so far today. She can do what we call kind of a mini curse, and she can do a great job of split pushing with a Web Weaver by protecting that Web Weaver from the structures in the lane. But it looks like you said, that has not been needed so far. The Web Weavers can take the damage because they have the follow-up from Zeveron in terms of damaging from behind them.
They picked up this endless creep talent, and look at the creep spread. It is ridiculous. It's definitely
everywhere.
More on the top, but it's nearly to the keep on the top because of that endless creep. The endless creep also makes it more difficult to figure out where the heck those creep tumors are, and with really just Vala to try to get rid of that creep. I mean, you can throw out some other things. Maybe you can hope to get it with Rhaegar's shield as well as Lightning Shield. Really, it falls to Vala to kind of throw out the multi-shot and hope something hits those tumors. If it doesn't, you gotta wait until the next one does. So that's a lot of vision, a lot of control for Zeveron, who've picked up their heroic abilities, and the boss.
Yeah, a very bold move, but well made, because Zeveron has their heroic abilities available. They knew that even if the PLEYZ did come and try to engage, they had a good chance of winning that engagement. The PLEYZ decided they didn't want any of that. They grabbed their bruisers, but that's not going to help them too much up here in the top, where that boss is going to start pushing with all 5 members of Zeveron.
The PLEYZ are not defending with Tyrande and Nazeebo. I think they're trying to push lanes as much as possible and then get a turn in, because they do have nearly 70 gems on them. But if they're not careful, they're going to lose a keep here. I actually think they are going to lose a keep here, which is at 8 minutes. That is an insane amount of damage to have to mitigate. They're going to have catapults for the rest of the game in this lane. They have finally brought back Drinde and Tyrande, but they actually didn't turn in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess they're feeling the pressure to really get some structural damage done in order to, of course, grab their heroic abilities and start to close that experience gap. Zeveron is working on level 13, and the PLEYZ know that they need to do some damage structurally as well as push out lanes if they want to be able to turn in through the rest of the game, as well as continue to engage on a good level.
Oh, and Daihu just walked right into a trap of Fury and Mad Timmy and Equinox, but heroics are here for the PLEYZ, and Ancestral went down on Daihu, and a great Starfall there is going to try to dissuade Zeveron from moving in, but they don't care. They know they are up in talents and are going to move in. Gargantuan is putting a lot of damage on Mad Timmy, and Stitches is down. He got a little bit too far away from his teammates who are trying to deal with that Gargantuan and keep Mad Timmy alive, so this could be the chance for the PLEYZ to try to at least mitigate a bit. They're all going to start madly turning in. They really need to start pushing lanes back and do some structural damage of their own.
Yeah, and now the Web Weavers are spawning, and I think that's part of what the PLEYZ were trying to do with the pushing in lanes, is trying to give their Web Weavers a good place to start from when they did get there. But the mid lane is a great example of how that push didn't really accomplish too much, as that Web Weaver is going to be about even with where the fort would have been. Down in the bottom, the Web Weaver may be a little farther forward, but it's going to be fodder for Zeveron right away.
Yeah, they're already throwing so much damage on it, and because of how staggered all of those web weavers are, they can just take down one, wait until another one gets a little bit closer, take down another one. They're nearly 13, so they'll have a talent tier advantage with the PLEYZ don't want to engage in. And it looks like the PLEYZ want to do that before their opponents hit 13. They're going to move in. There is the 13, and the PLEYZ are still feeling like they might want to try to push. They know that if they can at least distract Zeveron in this lane, maybe the other lanes will kind of push in their favor, but no, they're going to back up. They realize that they're down the talents. And while Zeveron takes care of these web weavers, why don't we talk about the heroic abilities?
Good idea. Let's see. We've got for Kerrigan, Maelstrom, we've got Summon Water Elemental for Jaina, Putrid Bile for Stitches, Divine Shield for Uther, and Devouring Maw for Zagara. So exactly kind of what we would be looking for, don't you think, Gilly?
Yes, indeed. And there's the Primal Grasp into that Maelstrom that takes out Rhaegar so fast. The Strafe's going to go down as well and start dealing a lot of damage. Equinox may go down here and will do so. So it was a 1-for-1. Unfortunately, Tyrande is down. Daihu is so low in carrying 17 gems. He will be able to Dwarf Toss away, but that Water Elemental is a problem. Thankfully, it is going to back up and get taken down by a multi-shot from Zeus. So it was a 2-for-1. It wasn't the end of the world, but also it does mean that the PLEYZ once again can't be aggressive. They've got to move back. What did the PLEYZ pick up for their heroics?
We see Ancestral Healing, Gargantuan, Strafe, Avatar, and Starfall.
A little bit of zoning from the Starfall, a lot of damage, the Gargantuan and Strafe, and then of course Avatar and the Ancestral Healing for tankiness and heals, of course. Now Daihu is moving in. Faye is going to drop the Ice Block. An amazing Devouring Maw secures Faye's fate. Being able to stay alive there, she's going to be able to undo that Ice Block and immediately move away. Path and Luck taking some damage from that Gargantuan. Gargantuan seems to be the problem here, as it's constantly been pushing somebody away, which is really nice for the PLEYZ. But unfortunately, they're still going to have to deal with these web weavers that are pushing against them. And now Zeveron are back on the offensive. They're going to take down this fort and continue the push.
In a few of these engagements, Gilly, I've wanted to point out that Daihu has gotten out by the skin of his teeth so many times. And that's really pointing out to the sustainability and escapability of Muradin, which is a really valuable member of the PLEYZ team. But Stitches, even though he can't take quite as many hits, is doing some major work with engagement. He's not having to do the disengage quite as often as Muradin is.
Yeah, and he's doing a really great job of dropping down that bile in places where the PLEYZ really want to engage, so it forces the PLEYZ either to have to engage where they want to or have to deal with it. Like right there. These I'm sorry, no, that was just his bile gas. I thought he was dropping it. There it is right now. And now they have to choose between chasing into those lower members or having to disengage. And so they are going to start moving in, but look how much damage Zeus and Drindy are taking from it. They're so low, and the roaches are chasing them at the same time. They're having such a hard time trying to deal with that damage. Equinox going to move in, take out that Gargantuan, and they're going to have to turn around and head home.
So interesting, because everyone was like, oh no, we're so worried, come catch us, and throwing things behind them the whole time that the PLEYZ just kind of had to walk through. And like you said, it made them get so low that they had to turn around, but now they are sniffing around for another engagement. Daihu is going to Dwarf Toss forward and try to engage around those bruisers. Fury is going to be just fine though, and then it looks like the PLEYZ are going to say, these are ours, just go away, we're going to take our own bruisers, thank you.
Yeah, nobody really wants to engage at this point. All the heroics are pretty much down. And so instead we're going to see them just choosing to merc up, heal up, try to get back and ready for the next engagement. Looking at gyms, the PLEYZ have exactly enough for a turn-in, and that is exactly where they are. They're trying really hard to get those turned in, and at least they've gotten the 19 off Zeus. If they can get the 15 off Drindy, that'd be great as well, because they are squishier heroes. And there we will have red web weavers descending, so that's going to be huge for them. They've got a major problem with top. They've got to get these catapults out of that lane, and that's going to help with that.
Yeah, I want to say that you mentioned this once before, but the first time that we had red web weavers, they were so stair-step staggered that it gave Zeveron the opportunity to deal with one, then the other, and not have to really worry about them pushing simultaneously in lanes. And we see that a similar situation is happening here, but it's exacerbated by the fact that the web weavers are so far back toward the PLEYZ base.
Yeah, and on top of that, Zeveron doesn't mind being this far forward to deal with them before they even get close to their base, because they've got 16. They've got a blood for blood, they've got the fishing hook, which means that PLEYZ have to play extremely scared, or else a hook from left field is going to come in and pick them up. I don't even know if that's a thing, I'm just saying. And then on top of that, they've got double Hunter Killer as well from that Brute expansion, and there it is, and immediately Lex Uther has to heal himself up. Now Ancestral Healing is down. They might just walk away and be happy with that, wasting the Ancestral Heal.
That was really cute. I don't know if you saw Kerrigan and Stitches both hiding out in the Bruiser Bay there and hoping that they could get a bait of somebody out so that they could hook someone behind that wall. But smart move from the PLEYZ, like you said, having to play a little bit scared, making sure that they didn't go and fall for that bait. And in the meantime, Stitches came and grabbed anyway. I think that was a little bit of a waste of an Ancestral Heal, Gilly.
Yeah, he really wasn't that low, but I mean, when you are getting that pull and realizing that you've got a possible double Hammer of Justice thanks to Benediction, you've also got Numbing Blast from the Jaina, and then of course you've got stuns from Equinox 2 on that Kerrigan. You have to realize that if you get pulled, you're most likely going to get stunned. So if you can like drop that, then maybe in the time that you're stunned and then getting damaged, it will go off. But it did end up not paying off because they didn't end up getting those stuns, putting the damage down. But I guess either way, you're gonna have it. It at least is back up now. And the PLEYZ are back out. They know that they don't have 16, but they are pretty close, so they can at least like try to at least tempt Zeveron not to engage that boss, saying, oh, we're almost 16, we could come in and take you out, we'll be on the same talent tier. For now, Zeveron are saying, okay, fine, we won't go for it yet.
Yeah, the mystery was taken out of it as the Sentinel from Tyrande did come in and reveal exactly how much they had gotten done there, and they hadn't gotten much done, so Zeveron deciding instead to do what they have been doing best so far, which is keep these lanes pushed very far back. As the Web Weavers do spawn, they have their sights set on this center keep.
Yeah, and gosh, we just had Web Weavers for the PLEYZ, and already these are all pushed at keep level. Daihu's going to jump in here and start trying to throw a bunch of stuns, but getting stunned himself, and another kind of waste on the Ancestral. He really wasn't that low, and Strafe is going to come in, start dropping a lot of damage on the members of Zeveron, but if they can just try to distract here, Web Weavers have just taken out the middle keep, so they've lost Uther, gained a keep. The top keep was already down, it's moving toward core. The bottom keep is halfway down. This is huge for Zeveron. They don't mind that they just lost Uther. They've gained the entire lane control for the battleground.
And that's what they were trying to do, I think, withdrawing the rest of the PLEYZ away. They were trying to make them walk through the Putrid Bile and chase them away from the work that the Web Weavers were already doing on their behalf. Now they're going to be able to grab these bruises, which is going to add even more push potential to what they're already doing. They're very healthy, but it looks like the PLEYZ really know they've got to do something about this now. They're going to look to engage, and Fury is going to be behind that zombie wall, which is so well placed in these tiny little closet spaces on this map. That's going to take Stitches out. This gives them an opportunity to take advantage of the fact that they only have to deal with now, as Uther just spawns, 4 members of Zeveron.
They're going for boss, and Zeveron is going for this keep. They might move toward the core and draw the PLEYZ away. The PLEYZ will have to leave, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They realize they don't want to deal with the boss. They can at least just go after this core, and already it's worked. Muradin is gone. Vala is back. Everyone else is moving back as well, but they're going to try really hard to catch Faye, Equinox, and Cawthon Luck. Faye is throwing out the Blizzard, trying to slow them down. Mad Timmy is going to move in as well, but they still don't have their tank. They have to be careful, but they've taken out Rhaegar!
That was so risky, and it paid off so well. Because, like we talked about how that Ancestral Heal might have been wasted on Rhaegar that last time, but this time he waited until he was really low, and he didn't have time to get that healing love into his body, and instead he was burned down. And now it looks like Zeveron is going to turn their attention to that boss. They're approaching level 20 now.
Yeah, and why not? Stitches is back up. There's no heals for the PLEYZ. That was a brilliant move by Zeveron to go in and tempt the core. The PLEYZ realize this, though. They realize they can't deal with all of Zeveron and the boss on their core, and they're going to have to go in and make this last-ditch effort. Fury has gone in and dropped the Putrid Bile. He's doing so much damage to Pirate Rem and Zeus, who are trying to come in. Daihu is on the cap point, and look at the Devouring Maw has caught everyone in it. And now we have Muradin down, Vala and Nazebo. Tyrande also fall. They've picked up the boss. They're moving toward core, and it looks like they're going to pick up game 1.
The primal grasp into impaling blades right out of the Devouring Maw is just so sad when you're the one in it.
I know. We've said that before, haven't we?
Yeah,
But that
I mean,
combo is just ridiculous.
the Swarm can be a worthy opponent. Let's just say that. That means that the first game will go to Zeveron. And I would say just overall very solidly played. They seem to have a really good grasp of what they need to do on this battleground, and we've seen the same kind of thing before. Just constant pressure with a focus on, at the beginning, making sure that they take out the first defenses of each lane.
Yeah, it really goes down, or goes back to the fact that they took out 2 forts with that first web weaver spawn. That is huge. That is so much damage. I cannot reiterate how much damage that is, because normally you're lucky to get 1 fort with that early of a web weaver. You're really just looking for towers. But to get 2 forts, that's insane. And then that right at level 10, being able to pick up that first keep in that kind of decision to keep 2 members of the PLEYZ out and pushing other lanes really just made it so difficult for the PLEYZ to ever get back out onto the battleground. They had their lanes so pushed against them. They got a turn in later on, and then immediately right afterward we had a turn in. That really just pushed lanes back to halfway. And then another turn in from Zeveron just pushed it right back to keep. So it was such a difficult effort for the PLEYZ to ever get back out on the map.
Yeah, I think they had the right idea, that they knew they needed to start gaining back some real estate, put some ownership back on the battleground. But like you said, they were stretched so thin with trying to defend their base already that it made it tough for them to continue to capitalize on it. If they were able to get 1 more web weaver turn in right after that first one, instead of Zeveron taking that next web weaver turn in, it might have been a little different. They may have been able to get themselves back on equal footing. But even then, they were still quite a bit behind in structures, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and having your lanes pushed so far against you like that means that we can see Zeveron doing those crazy things like, hey, we'll just go for core with 4 people up in our tank. I believe it was Stitches down. And the PLEYZ really, they had the right idea. They were going to capitalize on the fact, like, yay, we took out their warrior. We can do something now. And then the power of Kerrigan and Jaina, the fact that there were so many minions and mercenaries in the base that had already taken the shields down, is the PLEYZ couldn't ever really capitalize on what little advantages they did get. Zeveron played that so well. They've really shown that they do really love Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, and speaking of that time when they went for core, it was Kerrigan, Jaina, and Zagara together. No healer, no tank. And we know that those 3 don't have a great time with escaping. And we saw the opportunity for the PLEYZ to kind of put them in a vice. So that was a really risky, very gutsy play, and the commitment to just not being afraid and burning down a member of the PLEYZ as soon as they were kind of captured was what I think got those 3 damage dealers out of what could have been a sticky situation.
Yeah, it really could have. It was a fantastic, that whole little bit was a fantastic bit of decision making and play all around. That they were able to get out of that. They were able to force the PLEYZ back home, and then they went and took the boss for themselves. Excellent play throughout there for Zeveron. But the PLEYZ, they're not out of this yet. They've got a chance to turn this series around. So we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have game 2 of this best of 3.